So it may be hard at first to pinpoint exactly where the problem is, and it does take a little bit of work. So what I'm going to do in this chapter is share 3 real-life examples of clients that I've worked with so that you can see if maybe you can see yourself in any of these scenarios. Scenario 1, they just weren't the right fit. This one client had a series of new joiners who didn't work out beyond 3 months, and in one instance it cost them £8,000 in recruitment fees that they weren't able to claw back. I asked them to describe their recruitment process in more detail. They thought they had done a really good job of describing the need, so what they want that person to come and do. They also felt that they were assessing well, so they were checking the CV, they were checking out the person's LinkedIn, they were interviewing them, and they were requesting references. Looking deeper at the experience from the candidate side or the employee side, though, this is what I actually uncovered. The job description was a generic sales manager one. There was no information on why the role was important to the business and what they were expected to deliver in more detail, specifically what great looked like. So they didn't know if they were hitting the mark. I also saw that the requirements list was lacking. They had listed all of the technical skills, so things like end-to-end sales process, but they hadn't included any of the information on the behaviours required, like influencing skills, high-touch communication, and the ability to handle ambiguity. This was the first sales hire in that business. They were going to be responsible for setting things up. As a result, the new hire joined, and they joined a role that didn't match their expectations, and it was in an environment that they'd never been in before, so as the first sales hire. It's no wonder that they weren't the right fit, because they were selected and assessed on a half-baked list of tasks instead of something more robust. So if this in particular is ringing some bells for you, I've got something that will be really helpful for you. There's a job description template that I've pulled together, and it covers all the key elements that you need to consider when hiring for a role. I'll pop the link in the comments for you to go and download it. Scenario 2. They left because of personal problems. A prospective client came to me citing this as the main reason why 5 out of the 10 leavers in the previous year had resigned. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to mitigate or plan for that, and on face value, they could be right. Looking at this in more detail though, those leavers all had one common denominator. They all either reported to or worked really closely with one particular manager. In speaking with the employees in a workshop that I ran, some common themes were coming up. Number 1, we don't know what we're meant to be doing, and when we are given tasks, we are chased for updates several times a day. It's just too much. Number 2, we can't understand how those tasks help the business to move forward. We don't even know what forward looks like. And number 3, there were also some comments about lack of support, expecting people to just deal with challenges themselves, and the words, "I want solutions, not problems," came up fairly frequently. Now, would you like to work in an environment like this? They're obviously not going to say anything about it, as they didn't feel like they would be heard, especially if the person they're interacting with the most, who, by the way, is representing your business, was unapproachable. Scenario number 3. Employees are just too demanding these days. I asked this client what sort of things they had observed to allow them to come to that conclusion. They told me, they wanted autonomy, and they wanted to know so much detail about what is happening in our business and where we're headed. They also wanted to know what the future held for them in our business. So in summary, they were asking too many questions. How very dare they? The business owner couldn't see the value of hiring an expert and getting out of their way, even though it would free up a lot of their time and their headspace. They also couldn't answer some of those questions about the future and about the person's development because they hadn't stopped to think about it themselves. Employees, especially high-performing ones, want to know that they're contributing to something where they are trusted to deliver and where they can see a future for them. And when they can't see either of those things, that's when they think with their feet and they walk. Think about it this way. If you aren't able to articulate this stuff to your people, how do you expect them to get on board with it? So the lesson here is that most people don't leave because they're flaky, they're fragile, or they're not the right fit. They typically leave because of stuff happening or not happening in your business rather than anything else. It's usually down to one of the three key elements that we covered in the last video of the work environment, the leadership and culture, and the offer and opportunity. Now, what I'd like you to do in this instance is take a look at the levers in your business in the past 6 to 12 months and see what you can find. Levers within the first 3 to 6 months point to something to do with your recruitment and your onboarding. So you may not have been clear in articulating what you need, and you didn't assess for that either. Your new employees may have been left to fend for themselves in the first couple of months, which basically created a really uncertain environment, and they'd been chucked into the deep end of ambiguity. Levers after 6 months to a year could point to several things. It could be a management problem. It may also be that they can't see a future for themselves in your business, or it could just be that the honeymoon period is over and they realise that they really have not been enjoying that job. Take a look at what patterns are starting to show up with your recent levers and comment below if you're seeing one particular cause crop up again and again. And join me in the next video where I'll share with you how you can start fixing this stuff once and for all. I'll see you on the next one.